All right, today we have Layzie Bone, The New Revolution. Now, in all my years, I haven't ever seen anybody list this album in any kind of list at all. So I was kind of hesitant to even listen to this. I've been grinding my teeth seeing it like on my list of things to do. But I want to tell you right off the bat that I was pleasantly surprised only because my expectations going in were so low. Now, why haven't I heard this album? It's not because I wasn't a Bone fan since the beginning. It's the same story. This came out during that time period where I was working 17 hours a day, like literally working, getting home, sleeping, getting up, driving back to work. No life, no personal life, let alone time to follow Bone or football or anything. So I'm going back now, all these years later, checking out the stuff I missed. Like previously, we looked at Thug's Revenge. And interestingly enough, that Thug's Revenge and this CD, it seems to have come out at the same exact time. Not only that, there's a song that appears on both this album and Thug's Revenge. By the way, if you haven't seen the Thug's Revenge review, go check out our channel because it's on there. But the song called Streets featuring Bizzy Bone, it's on this and the other one. Both are high power entertainment albums. Both have similar packaging and CD design, cover art design. First thing I do remember about this, and the one thing I've always wanted to hear this album, but nobody ever gave me any excitement. Like I never seen people say, "Yo, Layzie Bone, The New Revolution." But the designer of this cover, Mike Ward, right here, I think I knew Mike Ward back in the day. I think Mike Ward designed one of my album covers in the 90s. Okay, this is obviously 2006. But I think Mike Ward was the designer of the Life as We Know It album by Lyrical Fusion and possibly even one of my book covers. I just went to look. This was my old book from 2002. I wanted to see if it really was Mike Ward that did it. And it was. Look at this. Cover digital imaging by Michael Ward. So, dude, the guy that did my first book, I think it's my second book, album cover, also did Layzie Bone's The New Revolution, and he also did my the Life as We Know It Lyrical Fusion album. So anyway, that's just some OG lippy Mike Ward, the cover designer for Layzie Bone. I think he also hooked me up with the job with Rick Robinson to be Bizzy's videographer for Alpha and Omega, but I actually had a bigger job that I couldn't pass up, and I took that instead. And just in case you're saying like, "Yo, Lippy, you got a book, bro?" I didn't know that. No, I got like 6 books, but the only one that I recommend you guys getting right at this stage of the game, Simulation Theory, Reality Has Become Science Fiction by Jonathan Lippy. Or you could just listen to it for free on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jonathan Lippy. It's wacky stuff, man. If you know by now, your guy is a little bit wacky. So check it out. But I just want to point out, Mike Ward, I think he went by Graphical back then. I can't remember what his name was, but we were buddies since like the ICQ days. I lost contact with him like 15, 20 years ago. But there's a crazy long history there, and I'm proud of him. I always wanted to hear this album because he designed the cover. So if Mike Ward is still a Bone fan, I might even got this guy wrong, but I think it was him. Because I remember he sent me like Mike Ward. If anything, I know Mike Ward because I remember when he made this cover, he was like, "Dude, I made an album cover for Layzie Bone," and he sent this to me, and I was just thinking, I was like, "Dog, this cover is amazing. Look at this, it's got the pyramid." I thought this cover was awesome at the time, and like I had like each day I'm in the warehouse working, I'm just like, man, there's that Layzie Bone New Revolution, but I couldn't get to the store to buy it. I didn't have time to download it. Like I said, I was barely home. But here I got it now, right? So better late than never. I'm just giving you the background so you don't think like, what kind of Bone fan is this dude? He never heard The New Revolution. But you know what? I did some checking up on you guys. And when I looked at the playlist for The New Revolution, there was only 1 or 2 songs that had more than 10,000 plays. So this may actually be just as new to you as it is to me. Just thinking of just the Bone mentality. I read hundreds of thousands of comments on all these videos we put. It's a consistent thing. Bone fans don't seem to really dig the solo albums. The Busy stands love it when Busy drops it. Crazy fans, but altogether, people want Bone Thugs and Harmony to be a group. So when they drop these solos, it's like, whatever. But here's what I wonder. I was thinking about this today. Do Wu-Tang fans complain that Wu-Tang, all the members just do solo albums and like once every 8 years they drop a group album? Like, are Wu-Tang fans as nagging as Bone fans are of like, when are you going to make an album, guys? When are you going to get back together? Or do they just not care? I don't know. But all right, let's examine the artwork. So we got the CD pyramid. It's very similar to the album cover. Looks great. This would have been, back in the day, this would have been phenomenal to me. The one thing I'm kind of sad is this doesn't appear to be an enhanced CD the way the Busy Bone CD was an enhanced CD, but it's not like it made a difference anyway, right? Executive producer Mr. Capone, produced by Mr. Criminal at the Crime Lab, photography by Alfred Perez, cover design by Mike Ward. So there's no liner notes, gigantic advertisement. I know I mentioned this on the Busy review, but this is impressive, man. 6 times 5, that's 30 albums right here. These guys must have thought that they were the next Death Row. High Power must have thought like, yo, we got the lineup. We got Lil Flip, Mr. Capone, Layzie Bone, and Busy Bone. I mean, they must have thought they were going to take over the thing. I don't know if they did or not. I wasn't around. Maybe they were a big deal. I don't know. I missed it all. But here's the back cover. Layzie Bone, New Revolution, B-Dub, 2006. So let's get into what I thought about the songs. Okay, so like I said, when I was going into this, my expectation level was so low. I'm talking, I thought I was in for some real low end, just garbage. Simply because I've never seen anybody rep for this album. And I'm here to tell you, and it might have been because it was a beautiful day today. I had my Beats by Dre headphones on. I went on a nice walk. Temperature was great. There was sunshine. I was feeling fine. I was in a good mood. And it almost was a just press play album, but not in the sense of like Doggy Style. It was just a chilling album. It's not a great album. It's not a good album. It's better than passable. It's slightly better than average. It's like a B minus. Okay, so it's not a C. A C would be average. This is a B minus album, and that's saying a lot because for an album that nobody ever talks about. So let's start with the intro.
Yeah, guess who's back?
Okay, the intro, I give these guys credit. When I say these guys, I mean Mr. Capone and Mr. Criminal and whoever else made this happen. They tried doing the eternal Mr. Ouija voice at the beginning. The ha 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 ha.
We just have an announcement to make right now. There's a little cause for celebration.
And good for them. Like, you know, that was kind of like, they were like the original Blaze trying to give the fans that Bone feel, but with like a West Coast flavor to it. Now, with that said, the intro feels generic. It feels like a wannabe Mr. Ouija. It's not exciting. It's not the greatest thing, but I'm happy they did it. At least they did it to keep consistent with the Bone tradition. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 for intro. 7.5. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. The next track is a good song. It's called Vote For Me. And it's got, when I listened to it, I kind of thought of Pillar.
Every day I wake up praying I can find my way. Every day get harder, man, but I promise not to lose my faith. It's uplifting. It's got a happy feel to it. It's a chilling song. You can't knock it. It's not a bad track. So I'm giving a Vote For Me an 8.5. That's a pretty high score. I'm putting Vote For Me as one of the top songs on the album. Not the best, but one of the top songs on the album. Track 3. Mo Murder. More murder, more murder. We coming to serve ya. More murder, more murder. More murder, more murder.
Featuring Big Sloan and Thin C and someone else. I'm good with the song. Now I know
East 99 fans are probably thinking this is blasphemous to name your song Mo Murder, but I'm fine with it at this stage. You know what? Back then, this probably would have bothered me. I probably would have thought like, how dare you, Layzie Bone, who owns the name Mo Murder, name another song Mo Murder.
Mo Murder. I'm the hardest MC you ever heard in your life. Big Sloan and Layzie Bone, homie, murder your wife.
And not have it be a perfect 10. But you know what's interesting is I don't like rapping ass rap shit, but Big Sloan brought it.
Force on hang like Hulk Hogan. My crew blows those to 21 cold soldiers. Hit you hard in your stern to make your chest touch your shoulders.
Like, I enjoyed Big Sloan's verse. I always love Thin C, so long as Thin C is a feature. I don't want to hear Thin C on his own, but when Thin C is with the guys, I love Thin C. So Thin C's on it, Layzie's on it, Big Sloan's on it. The beat was fine. Everybody brought it. I'm giving Mo Murder an 8.25. It's not the standout, but it's not bad. Track 4, For My Weed Heads.
This is for my weed heads, strictly for my weed heads. This is for my weed heads. We don't do no harm.
Now, I've heard this song before, and this song is an excellent song of the weed collection of all the weed songs that Bone Thugs and Harmony have. And it's so good that I'm giving this a perfect 10. For My Weed Heads is the top song on this album. Layzie sounds like he really enjoyed doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a top weed song. I don't use marijuana. I don't use any drugs or alcohol, but I used to be a big fan of the Bone Weed songs. They're kind of played out to me now. I don't need to hear them anymore. However, evaluating this, For My Weed Heads by Layzie Bone, excellent. Top song on the album, track 4, For My Weed Heads. You've all heard it. I don't need to tell you. Track 5, Midwest West Coast Connection.
From the 216 to the 213. From Cleveland and California, dropping nothing but heat. No riding the gag, banging, cursor in the cat.
All right, so here's the caveat. I think I've said this many times. This song right here, I can't fairly judge, because if you make a song with the Funky Worm sample by Ohio Players, I'm going to like your song no matter how you rap on it. I discovered this about myself in the 90s. Any song that had the Funky Worm sample, whether it was Dope Man, Ghetto Bird, You Know How We Do It, Too Shorts, Another Day in Oakland, any of them. I love the Funky Worm to the point where I can't be non-biased. So having the Funky Worm on this, and it sounds like the Ghetto Bird instrumental modified. My only issue with this is that Layzie's vocals are like slightly muffed, and throughout the album, they're not mixed correctly. And then when he does like the double voices, even Thin C's double voices, their voices aren't mixed correctly. That really ruined the experience for me, because the production sounds great throughout the album. Everything is EQ'd good except Layzie's vocals. And so I'm giving this an 8.5, but again, it's a G-Funk, Funky Worm track. So what I say about this song means nothing if you don't like the Funky Worm and you don't like G-Funk. It's not quite G-Funk, it's Funky Worm, right? So it's before the G-Funk era, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Like, literally, that is my thing. I don't know what your thing is, whether it's Bone tongue twisting. Keep in mind, and I want to point this out to you. The first song I heard by Bone was Thuggish Ruggish Bone, okay? That's got the Funky Worm in it. That's got a G-Funk beat in it. And so theoretically, I became a Bone fan. Well, one, because it was through Eazy-E, but two, because my first introduction to them was straight G-Funk, and that is literally my thing. So Midwest West Coast Connection, I gave it an 8.5. I liked it. I enjoy the heck out of it. It's generic. There's nothing inspiring about it, nothing different about it. You've heard this kind of song a million times. Hey, it's an 8.5. All right, track 6 from the 9-9.
They got an answer like AI and the truth like T-Mac. It's little Layzie Bone, put my city on the map.
I'm giving it an 8. It's a good song. The vocals are recorded like ass, but you can't hate on it. It's got, just like you have track 3, Mo Murder, this one's from the 9-9. So when you're seeing this track list in 2006, you're like, yo, they got a track called Mo Murder on it. They got a track called From the 9-9. This is going to be excellent. And while it's not excellent, it's not inspiring, it's not thrilling, it's not something new, it's good enough. From the 9.9, it's good enough. It's not great. It's good enough. It's a B-. Track 7, For the Thugs That's Gone.
I keep my feet on the concrete and the ride for the cause. That's why this opportunity still knocking like I would in my balls. Forever the hood in me, dog.
Once again, the vocals not mixed how I like them mixed, but the song is chillin'. It's an album track. It's got a good vibe. I give it an 8. An 8, it's a B-. Track 8, Wanted to Be a Soldier.
All I wanted to be was a soldier. 24s on slabs, use your muscle, do the math. Since the game is up for grabs, we ain't even about to ask.
This reminds me of a No Limit song, possibly because the title is Wanted to Be a Soldier. It's the first time on the album, though, where I started to kind of think, this is really generic, but it's not bad. But it's my least favorite song on the album. I'm giving it a 7.5. So this is like a high C. It's average, not above average, just above average, but it's not bad. It's the wackiest thing about these solo albums from this era. They're not bad. They're just not good. So I give Wanted to Be a Soldier a 7.5. It's my least favorite track on the album. It's generic, but it's not bad. Track 9, Say Lady.
Say there, lady, I think I wanna call you up. I think I wanna see what's up. Hey baby, I don't wanna say too much. I'm laying off in the cut.
This song sounds like it's a spoof of an existing song. Like the sound of it, I think, is borrowed from something else. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. But I don't think it's if this is an original song, they missed the boat. This could have been a decent hit off the album. Now, I do recognize my high rating of it may be influenced because there's a variant of the Funky Worm in it. So the song sounds like it's a spoof of an existing song. I don't like how the vocals are EQ'd. And if this is an original song, this could have been a bigger deal if it wasn't as crude and explicit as it was. But this is a standout track for the album. And I enjoyed Mr. Capone's energy on the track. Not so much the explicit language and, some of this stuff is like degrading, but it sounds good. The song's a good sounding song. I don't know if it's original though. If it's original, this is an amazing song. If it's borrowed, a remake, then cool. But it's a standout. I'm putting it in the top 5. I'm giving this an 8.75. All right, track 10 is a skit. I give it a 7. It's not annoying, but it's pointless.
Oh shit. Sound like Layzie that is Layzie.
Yeah, I don't know why skits get added to albums. Sometimes I think they're just trying to fill a track for a criteria that I'm not aware of, but I think skits, if they don't add value, why even put them on there? Track 11, I Get Higher.
I get higher, higher, baby. Let that fire burn through the night. It's that fire, fire, baby.
It's mixed. The vocals are mixed horrendously, but this song is a standout track. It's got lots of bass.
Friend with weeds, a friend indeed. Give me that smoke, no six, no six.
Some flutes. The instrumental is excellent. It's a weed song. Layzie put effort into it. This is a standout, the second best song on the album. So the two best songs on the album are the two weed songs. And I say the best songs because it sounded like the most love was put into performing them and they have the most replayability. All right, track 12, Streets.
I'm just riding the city streets in a black Benz Lexus, feeling the beat.
We already talked about this. This is on Busy Bones' Thug's Revenge album. Listening to it this time, it sounded even better than the previous time. Like I noticed the hydraulics and other sound effects that they put in there. Special touches show putting the little slice of love into the production. So I'm giving it a 8.99. I don't think it's a phenomenal song, so it's not getting that 9 to 10 treatment, but it's a good song. Now, I don't know, maybe it's just because, oh boy, it's Layzie and Busy on a solo album that makes me rank it so high. Like I wonder, if this was on a Bone Brothers album, would I think it's as good of a song? I don't know. But I'm giving it an 8.99. It's a good track. All right, track 13, Touchdown.
Touchdown in the end zone. Kick it like a field goal. Get the extra points.
Tell me what's the real score.
Giving it an 8. The subject matter I don't enjoy. I think it's explicit, it's crude, it's juvenile. You know, once you hit 30, if you're still making, especially if you're married, dude, if you're making these kind of songs, I don't know, maybe I'm just not enough of a guy to enjoy this kind of stuff. I don't want to hear this. I enjoyed it when I was in my teens, listening to Two Live Crew and Too Short, but I'm in my 40s now, and back then I would have been in my late 20s. I didn't want to hear that. But I like it. Thin C's on the album. I like that it was shown that it says featuring Mo Thugs on it. I'm giving it an 8. It's a generic song. It's not bad. It's not good. Track 14, These High-Powered Soldiers.
Lock and load, cause we coming for show. And don't fuck with these high-powered soldiers.
So you got Wanted to Be a Soldier as track 8, and you got These High-Powered Soldiers as track 14. And once again, it sounds like it could have been on a No Limit album. There's an interesting bass line on this song.
This for the soldiers in Iraq and all of the soldiers in Kuwait. All of the soldiers in the hood in every city and every state.
I give it an 8.25. It's generic. It's slightly above average. It's passable. It's just, you know, it's not, nothing on here is like, whoa, you guys are breaking ground. Other than the weed songs, everything on here is slightly above average. It's not bad. It's not good. It's slightly above average. It's below above average, slightly above average. Track 15, Mega Mix.
Chamber presents Layzie Bone, the Bone Thugs in Harmony.
It's an advertisement for the Busy Bone album. They mentioned Mr. Criminal and Mr. Capone and Lil Flip. It's short, but it's kind of with the format with how High Power does their thing. I like all the cross marketing that these guys do. You know, I'm happy. The way they ran their thing is how I would have done it if I had the ability to do it. So I like their game. The hustle and grind and game of Mr. Capone and Mr. Criminal, I dig it. They put out a slightly above average Layzie Bone album. It's not bad. The whole entire album is chilling. Like I said, I just pushed play. I went on a nice 2-mile walk. I heard the whole album on the 2-mile walk. I mean, I stopped a couple times, you know, to write some notes down. For people to not talk about this album, I think it's because it's slightly above average. There's nothing remarkable other than the 2 weed songs to make any mention, but it's not bad. You know, it's not like a pile of hot turd. It's passable. And you got the 2 weeds. Like, I don't know. I don't know why nobody talks about this album. So for me, it was a just push play, not like Doggy Style, not like Eternal just push play, but I wasn't grinding my teeth. I wasn't like, oh God, not this again. Maybe I was just in a good mood. If I was Layzie, I'd have been proud about this. I think this his third. His first album was El Burner. The second one is This Ain't a Game, This Ain't a Game. It's Not a Game. Yeah, I think it was It's Not a Game. And then there was this one, I think. I think this was the third album. Of the slightly above averageness of this, there really isn't anything to talk about, and perhaps that's why nobody talks about it. I think this was a cool ass cover at the time period. This concept was still kind of fresh. There was a feeling of like, all right, we're doing the Mo Thug thing again, but this imagery, it kind of had the No Limit kind of album cover feel to it, right? So I was like, all right, we got some No Limit Layzie Bone. I mean, if I didn't tell you this was a Mr. Criminal, Capone, high-powered album, and I covered all this stuff up, and I said, hey, did you ever hear the No Limit Layzie Bone album? You would have believed that this looks like a No Limit album cover. And a couple of the songs on here sound like they could have been No Limit songs. But this is a West Coast album. I like West Coast. I'm not an East Coast rap fan. And, you know, when I called the East Coast rappers rapping ass rappers, you'll rarely ever hear me call West Coast rappers rapping ass rappers, even though most West Coast stuff starts to sound the same after a very short while. I like it. And through that process, I kind of understand the East Coast fan. Because to me, East Coast stuff sounds all the same. But if you like how that all the same sounds, then you're consistently happy. Which is why myself, anytime I get a West Coast album, I'm pretty much happy about it. Because I like the way the West Coast sound is. It's a whole different thing. I have a whole philosophy thesis behind it. It's for another video. I don't even want to give a hint to it. I don't even know when I'm going to get around to it. But I think when I drop that video, it's going to create a aha moment for everybody to understand the underlying foundational difference between the West Coast sound and the East Coast sound. Yes, I know Layzie is a Midwest guy, hence the Midwest West Coast connection, but this was produced by West Coast guys. It's a West Coast album. I like the West Coast. I like the New Revolution. If this was on play in the background, I'd be fine with it. I would just remove the stupid skit, but the skit is so short and it plays some Layzie Bone in the background. So even the skit is not bothering to me. It's a just push play in a whole new way. Layzie Bone, the New Revolution. Now, what are my top 5? Okay, well, we know For My Weed Heads and I Get Higher are 1 and 2. Number 3, I would put Say Lady. Number 4, I'd put Midwest West Coast Connection. And number 5, I'd put Streets. But I think Mo Murder and Vote For Me, actually Vote For Me is almost a standout track. So I got 7 tracks on here that I'm good with. The ones I could live without are, even From the 9-9 is fine. For the Thugs That's Dead and Gone is fine. The Wanted to Be a Soldier, I could live without that just because it's generic and average. The Skid I could live without. Touchdown, I don't want to hate on Thin C. Thin C did fine on the song, but I could live without that song. And These High Power Soldiers. So there's really only, and the Mega Mix. So I'm good with over half of this album. Okay, historically, if you're good with over 5 songs on an album, that means it's a good album. I'm good with like 7 to 8 of these tracks. To where I enjoyed listening to them. So I don't know. What's your top 5? Let me narrow this down to my top 5 though. Okay, the 2 Weed songs. Okay, we're gonna put Streets to the side because that was in my top 5 for the Busy Bone Thugs Revenge album. So the Streets can't count twice. I'm not gonna use it on Streets, but Streets obviously would be a top 5. We're gonna put that one to the side. So we'll take Say Lady as the 3rd best. I'm gonna put Mo Murder as number 4 and Vote For Me for number 5. But I do want to fit that Midwest West Coast connection in there. That would be my 6. I don't know. Actually, you know what? On replayability, I would rather still hear Mo Murder, Midwest West Coast connection, and Vote For Me more than I would want to hear Say Lady. Say Lady would get old real quick. I'm just saying it's a standout track, and if it's an original concept, they really should have promoted that. But being that it might just be, a remake of a song, that could get booted. Top 5, For My Weed Heads, I Get Higher, Vote For Me, Mo Murder, and Midwest West Coast Connection. Those are my top 5. What do you have for your top 5 of Layzie Bone, The New Revolution? Did you ever listen to this album in your life? And I ask because, like I said, very low view count on YouTube. What are your memories of this? What were you doing? Did you buy this album in stores? Did you have it? Did you download it? Do you still have the downloads? Do you ever listen to this on streaming? Do you ever even think about this album? I suspect this is going to be a new experience for a lot of you guys because I never heard it till today. Obviously, I heard the 2 Weed songs because I think they're on some other compilations. But as a whole, and obviously I heard Streets, but as a whole, I haven't heard this. I finally heard it. I'm good with it. It's a just push play in a different way. That's what I got to say. This is Jonathan Lippy on behalf of Beyond the Harmony, and we'll catch you next time.